All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 1. That is right, week number 1 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin, and what we are going to do in today's check-in video, this week's check-in video, the check-in video for week number 1 is we are going to do a course overview. So this one is going to be long. It's going to be over an hour long. However, as you probably already noticed, I speak very slow. The reason I speak very slow is because I'm from the South, and a lot of us rural Southerners are slow speakers. Now, these check-in videos are optional, and we're going to come back to that a little later. However, for the sake of those of you who do want to get this course overview video, who do want to watch it and just kind of check it out so that you are a little more comfortable, I would say, with the course than you would be otherwise, if you want to watch but you think that I'm talking too slow, there's a way to speed up the videos. And if you have not sped up a YouTube video before and you do not know how, don't worry, you're in luck. I'm about to show you now. Give me one moment. All right, so now, as I said earlier, the check-in videos are optional unless I mention otherwise. If they are going to be mandatory, then I'm going to put a note on the announcement that says this check-in video is mandatory. But if you don't see that note, then that means the check-in video is optional. Now, if you want to watch one of the optional check-in videos, including this one, but you want to speed it up because you feel that I'm talking too slow, that is very easy to do. So I upload my check-in videos to YouTube. I'm going to come over here, and you will see.
Dig into Fazoli's Italian classics. Baked ziti, loaded baked spaghetti, and loaded fettuccine alfredo.
Okay, so this would be the normal speed, if that makes sense. This is our normal speed. Now, if you want to speed up any YouTube video, including one of my check-in videos, the way that you would speed it up is if you come here to the settings icon right here, what you would do is you would go to playback speed, and usually you can speed me up to about a 1.5, maybe even a 1.75, and still understand what I'm saying. So, you've got normal speed there. So you notice the difference. So if you ever need to speed a video up, that is precisely how you do it. You just go again to that settings icon and you go to playback speed. And again, I can usually be sped up to a 1.5 or even a 1.75 with you all still understanding everything that I need to say. Okay, so that is how you speed a video up. And from here, we are going to go into that course overview. So let's go ahead and dive in. Course overview, summer 2024. Let's get it popping. All right, so when you come to this, when you come to my class, the first thing you should notice is a home tab that looks something like this. There's not a whole lot that I put in there because most of the content is going to be in other areas such as the announcement, syllabus, assignment, such and such. So we're going to go over the syllabus first. That's how I start my overviews for this class. We start out with the syllabus, and then we're going to look at assignments and then some other things. But let's go ahead and do a syllabus overview first and make sure that you all understand what's going to be going on in the course. By the way, after today, or after you watch this, I should say after you watch this check-in video, you should be ready at that point to go ahead and take your syllabus quiz. So you'll see that there's a syllabus quiz that you have to complete. You can probably, if you've already read the syllabus, you can probably actually already take it now. But if you want to wait until after you do this course overview, that's perfectly fine too. But after you do this course overview, you should definitely be fine to go ahead and take your syllabus quiz. But let's go over to the syllabus now, and you will see something like this. So, reference sources and services, summer 2024. Scrolling down, class description. About this course, what we do in here is we learn about the principles, developments, and trends in reference services, reference service organization, and print and online reference sources. Also, we do an overview of information needs and searching. So scrolling on down, if you want some information about me, I will go into a little bit more detail right now, but what you can see on the page is I am who they call Dr. Jace. Usually most of my students just refer to me as Dr. Jace, as do a lot of my professional contacts. So you can call me Jason, you can call me Jace, you can call me Austin, you can call me Dr. Austin, you can call me Dr. Jace, whatever. The best way to reach me is either by Canvas message or by email. The school does prefer Canvas message, just so you know. The school would prefer that you send me a Canvas message. However, if you reach out to me by email, I'm certainly not going to make a big deal out of that, but it needs to be my Missouri email, and it needs to be from your system or Missouri account, okay? I do have an office phone at 816-235-1875, but again, reaching me through Canvas message is the best way to do it. Office hours, my office hours are by appointment, and we can do those by phone. In person, my office is actually in Kansas City on the campus of UMKC, not in Columbia. So that is something for you all to remember. Again, my office is at the campus of UMKC. It is not in Columbia. But if you need to meet me in person and you live in Kansas City or near Kansas City, or you can get to Kansas City, you can do that. Otherwise, we can try Skype or Zoom, or again, we can do the phone and that sort of thing. So, course overview. One of the primary tasks of librarianship is locating information and making it available to people who are seeking that information. This course gives you experience using some of the principal tools for seeking information and the criteria necessary to evaluate those tools, such as printed reference books, subscription databases, and the open web. You'll learn about the reference interview, search strategies to use with reference tools, library use instruction, and how reference services are being organized, okay? So, yeah, all of that to say that this class basically gets on the user end of things, and we'll talk about that more when we get to student learning outcome number 4. Yeah, so when we talk about, when we get to these student learning outcomes, we're going to talk about outcome number 4, and a lot of the assignments that come from this class, and you might want to save a lot of these assignments, or, well, I shouldn't say a lot. You might want to save at least one of these assignments because these are going to be assignments that are useful for SLO 4 for your ePortfolio, okay? So we'll get back into that a little bit later, but yes, this course basically deals with how we deal with the human element of librarianship, how we serve our patrons or our customers or our users, whichever term you want to use. I'm not getting into that. But how we serve library users, what we do, the things that we can do for them, including for instruction, but mainly for answering reference questions and providing services and that sort of thing, okay? That's what this class is all about. This class has the human element to it, and the human element is also what is the focus of SLO or student learning outcome number 4. So objectives and assignments, we've got our student learning outcomes listed here. This course meets the following student learning outcomes. First of all, student learning outcome number 3, graduates will be competent in information organization and life cycle activity techniques of organization of information and with using and evaluating technologies of the information profession. So this is actually mostly a SLO that deals with cataloging, to be honest with you, SLO 3. However, the evaluating technologies of the information professions, that is something that kind of touches on what we do in this class related to a database assignment. However, I still would not recommend that you use the database assignment for SLO 3 for your ePortfolio. But SLO 4, graduates will be able to assess community needs, formulate plans to respond to users of information agencies, and instruct users in using information resources. This is the human student learning outcome. This is the student learning outcome for people who want to work with people. And that is the, most of my assignments do correspond with student learning outcome or SLO number 4. So again, you probably want to save at least one of your assignments from this class to use for your ePortfolio for SLO number 4, okay? Okay, and there are also 4 associated course goals, and there is an assignment that corresponds with each of the course goals. So the first, or the most, I wouldn't even say that this is the most important or the first, they're in no particular order. So in no particular order, one of the course goals is students are able to use tools that communicate information effectively to the public. That is something you need to be able to do. That is one of the American Library Association competencies that they require us to make sure that our students graduate with. So for that course goal, you will do the LibGuide assignment. For the students are aware of information seeking habits and are able to adapt their communication to meet the needs of the public. This fits under the Wikipedia edit assignment. That is the assignment that corresponds to that goal, and that's the assignment that you will complete so that I can assess whether or not you have met that goal. The third goal, students can use common online platforms to complete a thorough reference interview. Virtual reference practice and report assignments. That is what you are going to, that's what I'm going to assess that goal with as far as assignments. And that is also why you had to do that introductory post. This is something that you're going to be paired up with one of your classmates for. And so I try to pair you up with somebody who's in your time zone. And we'll get back to that when we actually talk about this assignment in a few minutes. But let's keep going down the syllabus. And then finally, the students are able to use and evaluate reference materials and find the answers to factual questions. And the semester-long project is what I use to assess that. Now, as far as our point system here. Okay, hold on for a second. All right, so our scoring scheme is a little different. Well, actually, it is significantly different in the summer from how we do things during the spring and fall. The reason for that is because I do not bring guest speakers in for the summer. And I don't have synced sessions or live sessions in the summer like I do for the spring and fall. So because of that, we have to redirect those points into other places that you would get. In the spring and fall, you get points in my classes for attending guest lectures. But since you cannot do that in this class because there are no guest lectures, those points have been distributed elsewhere. And for one, the syllabus quiz is worth more points in this class than it is during the spring and fall. So it's worth more in the summer. It's only worth 1 point in the spring and fall. It is worth 5 points in this summer. So that should be actually a little bit easier for you all. And then the other thing that should be easier for you all is that the unassignment database assignment is usually 5 points for spring and fall semesters, but here it is 10 points. And again, this is a very easy assignment. Both of these, the syllabus quiz and the unassignment database assignment, are very easy. So that should be 15 easy points for you, and that's 15 easy points that my spring and fall classes don't get. Those assignments combined in the spring and fall are only 6 points, not 15 points. And the reason for that is there is a trade-off. Yeah, this class is going to be a little bit easier for you all because those two assignments are very easy and they're worth more points in this class than they are in the spring and the fall. But the trade-off is you don't get to have those thought-provoking sessions with the experts that come in, the practitioner experts that come in and do the guest lectures in the spring and the fall. So that's how the trade-off goes. But yes, so you've got a syllabus quiz that's actually due on Sunday. So go ahead and, again, you can probably take that as soon as you watch this video if you have not already taken it. The unassignment database assignment is worth 10 points, and that's going to be due next Sunday, June 16th. So this is due this coming Sunday, and then the Sunday after that, you're going to have this, and then the Sunday after that, you are going to have your virtual reference practice and paper. That's going to be worth 13 points, and you are going to be partnered up with somebody for that. So I'm going to start working on those partner assignments soon. Then you've got the Wikipedia edit assignment that's also worth 13 points. You do have a little bit of time between, it's not just a week, between the virtual reference assignment and the Wikipedia edit assignment, okay? I'm going to skip discussions for right now. The LibGuide is the major thing that's going to be worth 25 points, and it's got a huge rubric, so we're going to go back over that. That's going to be due on July the 21st. So that's going to be due 2 weeks after the Wikipedia edit assignment is due. And then finally, you've got a semester-long project that you can start working on now. It's going to be worth a total of 20 points, and that's going to be due on July the 26th. Please know that all of these are Sundays except July 26th. July 26th is a Friday. So yeah, so basically assignments are due on Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. Central Time. Um, and that includes the discussion board prompts. They are also going to be due on Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. Central Time. However, there is a little bit of a grace period. Again, a little bit of a grace period. Basically, I do not just go in and say, "Oh, it's 12 o'clock, so it's midnight. So if you didn't get it up by midnight, I'm going to deduct points." I am not that petty. I'm not going to do you all like that. So as long as you have turned the things in by the time I wake up on Monday morning, you're going to be fine. I'm not going to start deducting points until after it is shown that you have not turned it in by the time I wake up on Monday morning. So there is a little grace period on that. So if you're 2 or 3 hours behind, that's not going to hurt you any, because I'm not going to be up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning waiting for these things to come in. Okay. All right. Now with discussion board prompts, yes, there are going to be there are going to be 7 discussion board prompts. What is going on? Okay. There are going to be 7 discussion board prompts, and each one, basically, here's how this works. Discussions are a total of 14 points. And basically what it is you have an opportunity for 2 points with each discussion prompt. Your original post is going to be worth 1 point. And then also a reply to a classmate is going to be worth 1 point. So that's a total of 2 points. So with every discussion board prompt, you should have an original post of your own and a reply to a classmate, with the exception of discussion board prompt. I think it's discussion board number 2, but the prompt that deals with information seeking behavior, that one you're actually going to have 3 posts, even though it's still only going to add up to 2 points. But you're going to have 3 posts for that. You're going to have 2 original posts and 1 reply for that. And it'll make sense once you actually look at that particular prompt, okay? So that is how that works. And then we will scroll down. So you got a total of 100 points that you can possibly earn, okay? You're not going to have a discussion board prompt every week, and you're going to have 2 some weeks. I know that's crazy, but this course runs on a very logical schedule during the spring and fall, and then during the summer when we have to condense it from 15 weeks to 8 weeks. That causes me to actually have to double up on discussion board prompts some weeks, because originally what I was doing, since it was an 8-week class, was I was actually spreading them out and just having people, again, do 1 prompt a week for the first 7 weeks. But I was doing the exact same prompts that people did in the 15-week class, and so people were like, well, it takes me too long. It's like I read the material in the 2nd week of class, but then it doesn't show up for a discussion board prompt until the 4th week in the summer. So I'm like, okay, fine. I shifted some things around. And so the discussion boards are now coming, they correspond better with the week that they appear, but that does mean that you're going to have, just like you have basically 2 modules per week for the summer class, you're going to have 2 discussion boards for some weeks to match those 2 modules, if that makes sense. So that's just how the cookie has to crumble for the summer. But again, it all ends up being equitable when you look at it right. All right, so let's talk about this textbook. So I got a message from Kimberly Muller, who is our, as you can see here, she is specifically our librarian for CISL, for the School of Information Science and Learning Technologies, and she is great. She's wonderful. I love her. And she sent me a message today, actually. This is Monday, June the 3rd, when I'm recording this. She sent me a message today, and she told me, she said, hey, ALA is not selling that book to bookstores anymore. And I said, what? This book right here. ALA used to sell this to the bookstores, and apparently they're not doing it now. And I don't know why that is, and it has me very disappointed. So if you were not able to get a copy of the 5th edition, Castle and Higher Math 5th edition that came out in 2022, referencing information services and introduction, if you weren't able to get that, then I will allow you to use the 4th edition if you have to. Now there is, if you go to the ALA website, ALA itself is selling the book. If you're an ALA member, it's $68. If you're not, it's $75. I realize that's a lot of money. I hope that you can find it for cheap on Amazon. But Kimberly is also going to try to obtain a, excuse me for one moment here. So Kimberly is going to try to obtain an ebook edition. However, I would say don't depend on that. Go ahead and try to get the book as quickly as possible, even if you have to get the 4th edition off of Amazon or whatever the case may be, or if you find the 4th edition in ebook format somewhere, whatever the case may be. I'm not picky about that, but I do understand that there is a problem with the textbook this semester, and Kimberly and I are both working on that. But as long as you're not able to, if you're not able to get the 5th edition of the textbook, which looks like this, then by all means you can get the 4th edition, or you can get an ebook version of the 5th edition. And if Kimberly is able to get an ebook edition of the 5th edition for the class to use as something as a course reserve, I will let you all know right away. Okay. All right, so let's get back into it. So yeah, I've talked about the problem with the textbook. If you need 4th edition, that's okay. Hopefully we'll get a 5th edition on course reserve through the library, but you can also you can Google this and you'll be taken to this page from ALA, and you can buy it new from the ALA store directly. Now, anything outside of that textbook, you should not have to pay to read. It should be available for free through Ellis Library or through the open web. And, well, yeah, that's basically the size of that. And then if you want to find materials to use on your own, you can go to this databases link and you can find materials through the databases through the Missouri Library. Okay, and again, we do have a librarian who is assigned to CISL. Her name is Kimberly Muller, and she has also made a LibGuide. You all are gonna make LibGuides in this class. So I'll show you what her LibGuide looks like, but there are different ways to make LibGuides look different ways. So we'll talk more about that prior to the LibGuide assignment. But this is a LibGuide that she made for our program. And so if you're looking for databases to find additional literature, these you can go to the subject databases tab here and that sort of thing, and this is how you can do some of your own research. And then technology requirements, you are going to have to use email, word processing, spreadsheets, web searching, and database searching, as well as interactive courseware through Canvas. So if you are not able to meet these technology requirements, then you're not going to pass this class and you're not going to be successful in this program. You do have to have a minimum competency with technology coming in. All right, now, as far as our grading scale is concerned, here's what we're working with. If you get at least a 94, you will have an A. An A represents work that is significantly above what is expected of graduate students. If you get an 83 to a 93, you will get a B. The B grade is awarded to less than outstanding performance, but is better than minimally acceptable performance. And then if you get from a 71 to an 82, that is the grade of C. And a grade of C is awarded for minimally acceptable performance. We do not give D's in graduate school, so if you do not get at least a 71, you will flunk the class. I do reserve the right to award pluses or minuses depending on exceptional effort or exceptional lack of effort in any letter grade range other than the F range. So depending on how things go, if I feel that you were kind of low effort in what you did, but you still got a 94, you might end up with an A minus instead of an A. Conversely, if you are perfect with your 100, then you may get an A plus instead of just an A. Or if you didn't do quite well, but I see that this just really wasn't the class for you, but I felt that you put forth optimal effort and you got like a 92 or a 93, then you'll get a B plus instead of a B. So that's pretty much how that works. Weekly routine. So things are a little bit different in the summer. And I see quite a few of you I've actually had in spring or fall classes before, but I've not had you in a summer class. Things do work a little differently in the summer. So in the summer, it is recommended that you keep a regular routine in this class, and this is an example. So you can have new readings in a lecture each week. Because this is a summer class, you will actually have to do 2 weeks of work with each week. So that is something that you all need to be aware of. This class is very intense because you're doing 2 modules every single week. It's a summer class. Summer classes condense 15 weeks worth of course material in the 8 weeks of class time. Because each week is 2 weeks worth of work, One strategy you may want to adopt to conquer this course is to split each week into a few days. So for instance, you're going to have modules 1 and 2 this week. This week you have the week 1 module and the week 2 module. So with the week 1 module and the week 2 module, what you can do is you can split your week up and say that from Monday to Thursday, I'm going to do the first module, and then I'll do the second module from Friday through Sunday. And then again, I'll have recorded lecture videos, which are really check-in videos. I should change that to check-in from lecture. But you'll have recorded check-in videos every week. They will be put in the announcements area, and they will be labeled either mandatory or optional. If they are not labeled, then they are optional. So they are optional unless otherwise stated. You should plan on spending 6 hours per week in this classroom because it is a 3-credit summer class. So if this weren't a summer class, then you would spend probably 3 hours a week, but in the summer class, 6 hours. Readings and assignments are, of course, on top of that. And remember, this is a graduate school, not a correspondence course. Readings and reading the announcements is mandatory. And I've had issues with students in the past over that as well. So if you ask me a question and it's something that I've already answered through the announcements, I'm not going to be very pleased with you because the syllabus says the announcements are mandatory. You have to read them. So read them. Okay. And again, that is my main form of contact with my classes. So I really, really do need you all. If you want communication to be good between me and you, I do need you to read the announcements. Now, please know that I am reading your posts, but I will not be responding to all of them. If you want to send me a personal message, send me one through Canvas or email me. And if I do not respond within 72 hours, you can email me again. You email me several times in a week, I might consolidate those answers. And also bombarding me with emails may slow my response time. Okay. All right. So, and again, I do want to reiterate that if you do not hear from me within 72 hours, go ahead and email me again. Sometimes I delete things by mistake. Sometimes I forget to come back to things and don't mark them as unread. Sometimes things go into spam folders. All sorts of things can happen. Okay. So if you need to hit me up again. Late work policy. This is something that I'm actually flexible on. However, I do have things written in the syllabus so that I can cover my own behind. Basically what it says here and what I can do, because it says I can do it, is you will have a 10% deduction per day of as a late penalty if an assignment is late, and then after 5 days it will not be accepted. You must contact me before you plan to turn in a late assignment unless something happens, such as you being in the hospital, having an emergency, being in the hospital, being in jail, and I have had students arrested before, or something of that nature, okay? And there is no makeup for missed discussion weeks or assignments not turned in by the due date. This is a graduate course. Please remember that. I'm expecting top-level responsibility because you are at the or near the top level of academia taking a graduate level course. Sync sessions are mandatory, but you don't have to worry about that because we don't have sync sessions in the summer. All right. So again, contact me before you plan to turn an assignment late if you plan to turn one in late. However, I'm flexible on this. I have that language in the syllabus so that I can do that, but I'm human. I know things happen. So if something happens, for instance, first of all, let's get this out of the way. Any type of death is something that you can get an extension for. It doesn't have to be. No, university policy does allow you bereavement for immediate families. So parents, children, and siblings, if they pass away, then by all means you can take whatever time you need. Just hit me up. Let me know that there's an issue. Let me know that somebody passed away who was very close, and university policy allows you to get extensions while you are grieving and bereaving the deaths of very, very close family. However, with me, I do go a step beyond that. If you have a coworker that died, a friend that died, a pet that died, pets are family in my opinion. So yeah, if your dog dies, your cat dies, gerbil dies, or even if you have extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, that sort of thing that die on you and that sort of thing. If anything like that happens, just hit me up and there's a chance that I will extend you. Again, I'm human, so I'm not totally by the book. There are situations that are not documented situations where I'm still like, yeah, that merits some time. I've got a 13-year-old dog. I don't know how much long. No, he's 14. I've got a 14-year-old dog. I don't know how much longer he's going to be with us, but I will say that, you know, because he is 14, I'm not expecting him to live much longer. And I assure you, on the day that he does pass, I'm probably not doing anything. So I understand that. And there are other things that you can get extensions for. If you're not feeling well, just let me know. Just reach out. If you are, you know, some life events can be devastating even when they don't involve death. If your significant other breaks up with you a day or two before the assignment is due and you're like, holy crap, because you love that person with all your heart. I've been there. If that happens to you, just say, Dr. Jace, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my them friend, they broke up with me and I'm just speechless. I can't concentrate. I can't do anything. I can't stop crying. Send me an email. Let me know. We'll work it out. We'll extend you. Okay. And it doesn't necessarily have to be sad things either. If you've got a vacation planned, let me know ahead of time, but let me know if you got a vacation planned. I'm not going to make you do a homework assignment during a family vacation. You're getting married on Saturday. I'm not expecting you to come back and make sure you have your assignment turned in by Sunday night. I can extend you to Tuesday or Wednesday. Those sorts of things. So, you know, I'm human. There may be things you want to enjoy. There may be things that you just feel you have to put before the work of this class. Now, I'm not going to grant an extension for everything, but it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst that I can tell you is no. Okay. So that's something that I say about late work and that sort of thing. Again, just the best thing to do is just ask. Just ask. Don't assume what I'm going to say. Just ask. All right. So for our course calendar, again, except for our last week, we are going to have multiple things every week. We're going to have 2 modules every week except for the last week. So week 1, we have the modules are named by their weeks. They're named by the weeks that they occur in the 15-week course. So you will have 2 modules this week, one that says week 1 and one that says week 2, but they're both for you to complete during week 1. And that's why you have these dates here, if that makes sense. So your week 1 and week 2 modules are this week, June 3rd through the 9th, and you've got those readings there. So you've got the introduction and then theories of information seeking that you start this week. Next week, your 2 modules are going to be theories of information seeking part 2, and then also communicating as a reference professional. And I think you do actually also have 2 discussion board prompts next week that are going to be due on June 16th. I think that's the case. So again, just be aware of that. Make sure you're paying attention to what is due and what's due when. In the 3rd week, due on the 23rd, you're going to have week 5, online and virtual reference, and then week 6, reference materials and information literacy. June 30th, we will do reference services for children and young adults and Wikipedia and the internet. July the 7th, due July 7th, we will have a search techniques module and then reference materials 1, bibliographies, encyclopedias, and ready reference. Okay. And because July the 4th falls during the week, there's not going to be a July 4th extension. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, July 4th falls on a Thursday, so you're not going to have any extensions related to July 4th this time around. Sorry about that. Then, due on July the 14th, we're going to have reference materials number 2 for databases, indexes, geography, and biography. We will also have health, law, and business. And then due on July the 21st will be government information and STEM reference. And then finally, you only have 1 module in the final week, which ends on July 28th, and that's managing and planning for the future. All right, so resources and policies. First and foremost, help is available. If you need assistance with technology, go to the help desk at missouri.edu, or you can call 573-882-5000. So if you need any help with things like, if you need help with databases, then contact the library. But if you need help with email, you need help with Canvas, all of those things, reach out to Do It, which is the help desk, Do IT, the help desk, and they will help you with these things. Online class netiquette. Your instructor and fellow students wish to foster a safe online learning environment. Actually, I'm not going to read this verbatim. I'm just going to tell you, yeah, watch what you say. I try to honor intellectual freedom here, so I don't try to censor students very much, okay? But if you say something that is, for one thing, be careful with making jokes. I like jokes. I like humor. I try to be humorous, but I'm not funny. If I were funny, then I would be a stand-up comedian and not a librarian. But because I am not funny, I am a librarian. However, I know people like to make jokes, and I like to make jokes. I like attempts at humor, but just know that in the online environment, humor can be taken in different ways. It might not be accepted as humor. It may be something that would have been funny had it been said out loud, but it's not funny when it's typed out. Those sorts of things. Just be careful in how you operate, okay? So all of that, and I have to abide by that too. You know, I will try to be funny in these videos, but a lot of times you all won't be laughing, all right? So all that to say, hey, let's foster a community of mutual respect here. And, you know, if something needs to be brought to my attention, if you're offended by something a classmate says or something that I say, contact me. And you can do that by email or Canvas message. You don't have to put it in the discussion area, but contact me. If I have to bring Title IX or the Office of Anti-Discrimination into it, I will, but hopefully I won't. Okay. All right. And then finally, students with disabilities, please do not suffer in silence. I believe I've already got 2 accommodation requests for students with disabilities in this class. I'm perfectly fine with that. Please let me know talk to the disabilities office if you've got something that will require you to need accommodations like extended due dates and that sort of thing. Once you contact them and make a plan with them, then they'll contact me and relay things back to me. All right. So that's pretty much it with the syllabus. Now let's go ahead and look at our assignments. All right, so scroll. Again, you have the syllabus quiz due on July 9th. As far as telling you when the various discussion boards are due, actually, let's see if we can do that in discussion. Yeah, okay. So, first of all, you have an intro post that is required. And everyone should, if you have not already done your intro post, go ahead and get it done because, again, this is what I use in order to partner you up with somebody else for your virtual reference paper and practice assignment. And if you do not, well, let me just say that the faster that you all do your intro post and allow me to pair you up, the more time you have to complete that assignment. So if you don't want to be doing it last minute and you don't want to rush and that sort of thing, then go ahead and get the assignment done now. All right. So discussion board prompt 1 is due on June the 9th. Discussion board prompt 2 is due on June the 16th. But again, this one is the one that has something a little different going on with it. So during the spring and fall, this one actually spans 2 weeks. So it spans week 2 and week 3. That's, of course, something similar is happening in this class as well, in the summer class. But you're going to have 3 posts instead of 2. And that's like you're going to have 2 original posts, post at least 2 of your own self-studies, and reply to at least 1 classmate. So you should have a total of 3 posts. This one's going to be a little different, like I mentioned earlier, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Make sure you do 3 posts instead of 2 on discussion board prompt number 2. Now, let's go back. Discussion board prompt number 3, is that one due on the 16th as well? This is the stuff I got to check. Yeah, that one is also due on the 16th, okay? So again, you're going to have times where they get doubled up. Discussion board prompt number 4 is going to be due on June 23rd, as is discussion board prompt number 5. Number 6 is not going to be due until July 7th, so you do have 2 weeks between that. And then you only have 7 discussion board prompts. The final one is going to be due on July the 21st. Okay. Aside from that, you do have a free-for-all forum, so anything can go in there. You can even just say, "Hey, how y'all doing?" And it can be that simple. "Hey, how y'all doing?" And if you just want to talk to people informally, then the free-for-all forum is the place to do it. If you have questions, you can put them in the questions, comments, and news area, and several people already have. So you all are not shy about asking questions, which is good. And it is good to put the questions in that discussion board area if you want, because your classmates may have the same questions. So there you go. All right, now I'm not going to go back into discussions except for the database unassignment discussion, but let's talk about assignments now. So we'll talk about this one first, since it is the first one due. So the database unassignment, as you can see, what you have here, this is very simple, and it's 10 points. So it's very easy work for 10 points. Basically, each of you has been assigned a database. As you will see down here, you will see that I assigned the databases here. By the way, if you either would like to trade with a classmate, do a database that isn't assigned here, if you weren't assigned a database, or if you were assigned the same database as a classmate or assigned more than one database, please let me know so that I can fix that. But all of you have been assigned a database, except for Anna. You get to pick a public library database, but make sure your database isn't listed here and being done by one of your classmates, okay? So what you'll do is you'll basically take this format here, you can copy, and then you'll replace cables. I did my example with cables, but you will replace cables with the database that you were assigned, and you will fill out all of these fields, and you will paste it in the discussion area, because this is peer-to-peer learning. Basically what's happening here is after all of you do this, it's kind of like you can read what I've done here, and that will give you a basic intro into cables and what cables is. So this is me teaching you about what cables is. So once all of you have done the work for all of these databases here, then because it'll be a discussion board prompt, it'll be something that each of you can look at. You can look at your classmates' work. And so what you can do there is, this is peer-to-peer learning. You can look at the work that your classmates did, and you can learn about these various databases that way. So that is why this assignment is done the way that it's done. Very easy assignment. Again, it is worth only 5 points in the spring and fall, but in the summer it is worth double. It is worth 10 points, and there's not an easier way to get 10 points. This should take probably 60 minutes at the most, maybe 90 minutes, but most students finish this in about 60 minutes. And again, it needs to be short, okay? So it's something that should be readable. Like, you can read this. What I did, you can read this in about 4 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that, and that's what you should be putting together, something that your classmates can read in about 4 or 5 minutes. All right, let's go back to the assignments. Look at our other assignments. Okay. Virtual reference practice and paper. This is worth 13 points. And you will work with a classmate to do this assignment. So basically this assignment is to prepare you to get your feet wet for you to have an opportunity to actually do a reference interaction. Or some of you have jobs where you're already doing reference interactions, but if you don't have such a job, then this is an opportunity for you to get a reference interaction under your belt. It's going to be a practice one with a classmate. Basically what you're going to do, if you're in a group of 2, and hopefully everybody will be in a group of 2, but if I have an odd number of students, somebody's going to end up in a group of 3. So if you're in a group of 2, then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to take turns being the librarian and the patron. You'll ask a question, your partner will answer, and then your partner will ask a question, and you will answer. And this is to give you that feeling of what it's like to be on the reference desk, what it's like to have to do something impromptu, to answer a question impromptu. If you haven't done it, it can be very stressful the first few times you do it, because you're like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I look for? Blah, blah, blah. And then you get more comfort as you go on. Okay. All right. And so that's how that works. You've got this rubric down here. So again, if you have not done your intro post, go ahead and get it done so that I can assign you a partner. And another thing I want to mention with this is potentially an opportunity, especially if I'm able to partner you with somebody in your metro area. This is an opportunity for you to network. I started my networking at the student level. Okay. I was networking. I was trying to hobnob with anyone I could when I was a 23-year-old library student back in 2006. And that is the thing is, excuse me. This is a very small field. All of the stereotypical stuff that you hear, all the cliche stuff, I should say, that you hear about how it's not what you know, it's who you know, that applies in this field a lot. You will get far if you have that name recognition. So you do want to kind of get that name recognition, and that will help you be successful in this field. Okay. So I will hope that whoever you do your virtual reference assignment with is going to be somebody that you are willing to, well, just somebody that you are willing to sort of network with even after the class is over. And if you're able to network with them after the class is over, then you've already got one person in your network. And that's somebody that you can potentially collaborate with projects on, somebody that you can visit with at conferences, so forth and so on. There are a lot of things that you can do, but we'll talk about that some other time because this is going to be a long video anyway. All right. But yeah, you'll see that rubric there. Follow the rubric and you should do well. What else do we have for assignments? Next, we will have the Wikipedia edit assignment. Let's talk about that. That's going to be due on July the 7th. And this is, I'll talk more about this when it gets closer to the due date for it. But this is my favorite assignment in the class, this Wikipedia edit assignment. The reason it is my favorite assignment is because this is an assignment that helps society at large. It doesn't just help you, and it doesn't just help me. So basically, this is an assignment where what you're going to do is you are going to select the Wikipedia page and you are going to edit the Wikipedia page, make it better, and then you're going to write a small paper about the improvements that you did to your Wikipedia page. And again, the reason why I say that this is something that benefits society at large is because you are putting better information, higher quality information out there to be consumed by an information consumer who is using Wikipedia. Okay. And so anyone can use Wikipedia. And so if your changes stick, if your changes are not deleted by some Wikipedia editor, then that means that what you have added or what you contributed is going to be something that is going to be around for a long time. And it's going to be information that is more accurate and more dependable for the people who are getting it. Okay. And you'll see a rubric for this as well. You'll see a rubric for the other two assignments I'm going to talk about as well. But in this assignment generally takes people about between half a day and 2 days to do. So it's not something that's going to take you a long time to complete. Now let's go to the LibGuide assignment. Again, this is the big guy. This is the one that makes some students nervous. So if you have not seen a LibGuide, this again is a LibGuide, but LibGuides can look fancier than that. They can be more artistic than that. And we'll talk a little more about the LibGuides too on one of the future check-in videos. But, so this is the LibGuide assignment, and this is the prompt. What you're going to do is you're going to build one of these LibGuides, and I'm going to create, I'm going to create LibApps logins for each of you. So I'll be doing that soon. I may even do that this week. I'll be creating LibApps logins for each of you so that you can make a LibGuide. And then what you'll do is you'll go in and you'll make a LibGuide, and you're going to follow. I'm going to show you all this rubric. This is a big rubric. Look at that rubric. It is a big rubric. It's a scary rubric. It's an intimidating rubric. But what you're going to do is you're going to make a LibGuide, and you're going to place your LibGuide in a folder, and I'll show you how to do that as it gets closer to time. You're also going to make a video. You can use, if you find any sort of screen capture software that you can use to make your video, by all means, you can use it. You may want to look for something that's free. Screencast-O-Matic, which is now called ScreenPal, which is what I use. I use the paid version because my videos go over 15 minutes, but you can make 15-minute and less videos with the free version of ScreenPal. and your video has to be under 15 minutes. In fact, it has to be under 3 minutes. Please do not miss this, because we have people that miss this every single semester, and it's something that, I don't know, it's right there in the rubric, 3 minutes or less. And I always have somebody that puts together, without fail, I have at least 2 students every single class to put together a 7-minute video when it says 3 minutes or less. Okay, so they lose points for that. Try to keep your video brief. But yeah, and you may want to, you can just Google LibGuides. So if you're a little nervous now that you've seen that, you can just Google LibGuides. By the way, this is the Amazon page for your textbook. So there is a paperback that's available for like $75. But again, as I said, if you need to use the 4th edition, that's fine. Anyway, so if you wanted to Google for some LibGuides, you can just Google around, you can find what is a LibGuide, getting started with LibGuides, so forth and so on. And you can find, well, there are a lot of LibGuides out there, and now that I see this, it's like, where are the LibGuides? Okay, I'm tired of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and say, I'll just show you 1 or 2. So Art LibGuide. Okay, so that one's very bare bones. I'm going to be expecting more from you than that. Okay, this one doesn't look too bad. But you can get more creative than this too. A lot of times academic libraries aren't getting super creative with their LibGuides for the sake of keeping them looking consistent. But in the public library and the school libraries, like K-12 libraries, you will see people getting more creative with them. Again, we'll revisit this when it's closer to time, okay? And then finally, our last assignment that we'll talk about, that you could go ahead and get started on this tonight if you want, is going to be the semester-long project, okay? So, with the semester-long project, you have to answer 40 questions. This is worth 20 points. Each question is worth a half a point each. You got to answer 40 questions to get your full 20 points. And what this assignment does is it helps you learn a bit about the databases, because what it is basically, I would call it a database tour. You will, the way to complete this assignment is to go in and you answer the questions by actually visiting the databases. Almost all of them are available through Mizzou. If they're not available through Mizzou, they should be available for free over the web. But you go into the database to find the information the question is telling you to find, and then you answer the question from there. And what I recommend you all do, again, it's 40 questions, and this is an 8-week class. So do the math. You should probably do 5 questions per week. Students have told me that this took them roughly 40 hours to complete. So it's almost like a full week, a full work week worth of time that you might have to put into this. They were spending basically an hour per question. Some of you will do it in less time than that, but some of you will need fully that hour per question. And so again, I would say that the smart thing probably to do would be to pace yourself. I would say do, for an 8-week class, do 5 or 6 questions per week. And that way you're not looking at having to do 40 questions in the last 2 weeks and panicking and that sort of thing, okay? This is ready for you to go ahead and download now. And you'll see it here if you, this is the little preview that I just clicked here, but you can preview, scroll down, and you'll see due July 26, 2024 by 11:59 p.m. And you'll see the various questions here, and what you'll do is basically just answer below this. If you have, you can, there are various ways that people turn this in for me. If you have any questions on an acceptable way to format it, again, just reach out to me and ask, and I will be happy to answer, okay? A lot of times, all you have to do is ask, and you shall receive. So that's pretty much it with the assignments. We've done syllabus, discussion, assignments. Let's go ahead and do announcements. So basically, this is where your check-in videos are going to appear. They're going to appear in the announcements section, and then any other thing that I have to do to kind of update you all on what's going on, you'll find that in the announcements section as well. So there's already one announcement in here. Hopefully you've read it. And this one basically told you get the introductions up and reading the announcements is mandatory. And it did tell you that I was going to have this particular check-in video coming, and it will be uploaded later tonight. So it'll be available for you on Tuesday morning. So that's basically the course in a nutshell. I think I've covered everything from the course overview. So I am going to talk about myself for a few minutes. So pause and give me a moment to do that. Okay, so now it's time for my favorite subject, which is me. No, I'm just playing. My therapist assures me that I'm not a narcissist, so forgive that comment. No, I'm not really my own favorite subject. However, I do think I'm pretty cool. Yeah. But anyway, so I'm gonna talk about me for a moment, just to let you all know who I am, and then just a few expectations and other things that I have. Just to kind of, I hope this actually makes you all more comfortable with me, not less comfortable. But there are some things I need to say, so I'm gonna say them. Okay. So first of all, just a few words on who I am. Again, Dr. Jace is what most people call me, but the name is Jace Alston or Jason Alston. I am born in Petersburg, Virginia, originally from Soul City, North Carolina. Also spent my teenage years in Richmond, Virginia. I hold a bachelor's degree in English from University of North Carolina at Wilmington in Wilmington, North Carolina. Graduated from there in 2005 with my bachelor's. I got my master's in library science from North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina in 2008. And then I earned my PhD in library and information science from the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks, in 2017. So that's my career trajectory there. Excuse me, I'm sorry. By the way, to provide a little bit of trivia for you, North Carolina Central University is the one and only HBCU, which HBCU is a historically black college or university. If you have not heard that term before, that term is very common to hear in the South, but a lot of people I've noticed in the Midwest have not heard that term before. So again, if you have not heard HBCU, historically black college or university, North Carolina Central University is the only HBCU with an accredited library science program in this country. So that's a little bit of trivia for you. As far as my work experience, I started off as a newspaper reporter, did that from 2005 until 2008. I worked as a diversity resident librarian, which is, if you ever watched that TV show Scrubs, they were in a medical residency in Scrubs, and I was in a library residency for my first job, a 2-year temporary learning on the job type job. I served in that role from 2008 to 2010. I was the first diversity resident librarian at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina. After that, I served as a public librarian for a year and a half at Forsyth County Public Library in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as an adult services reference librarian. From there, I worked as a reference librarian for Midlands Technical College in Columbia, South Carolina. I did that for several years. So I was working on my PhD, and then after earning my PhD, I worked for a year and a half for the Coastal Carolina University in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as a business librarian for them. So, yeah, and then for whatever reason, I left Myrtle Beach to come to Missouri. Still regret that decision sometimes, but it's what I did in order to advance my career, because Coastal Carolina, I was working as a librarian and I had a PhD, so I did want to teach and put the PhD to use. And so I was given that opportunity by getting this job with the University of Missouri. When I first started with the University of Missouri, I was also serving as a reference librarian for UMKC. This is the University of Missouri at Kansas City. But during the pandemic, that part of my job was eliminated, and so now I am a full-time instructor with this program. Okay, so that is where we are. I mean, that's it. That's the story of my professional career. But another thing that I do want to kind of mention, and this ties into really this ties into and is essential to my well-being as a instructor here in the Midwest. So let me, in case you haven't noticed, I'm just going to reveal something that you may have noticed from watching me in this video. And I say this to every class, so please don't get too uncomfortable. This is a discussion that we need to have. I'm black. As you can see from this video, I'm black. I'm one of a very, very few, very small number of black male librarians in this country. There are fewer than 600 black male librarians in this country nationwide, fewer than 600, not 6,000, 600. So yes, if you went to a high school that had 1,000 people, then you could take every black male librarian in this country and put them in your high school and still have room left over. Okay, so there are not very many of us at all. And then there are only, I believe, 13 or 14. I believe there are 14 full-time LIS black male library science instructors. So I'm one of only 14 in the country on that. And I don't even know who those 14 are because I can only name 3 others, okay? But having said that, the reason why I bring this up is because when I first, here's the thing, I started teaching in South Carolina. I started teaching while I was working on my PhD at the University of South Carolina. So I started teaching in South Carolina. Most of my students were from South Carolina. And I will also say that in the South, I'm from the rural South, and in the rural South, you do have a lot of black people in the rural South. The South is the only region of this country where you have black people in rural areas. You don't see that in the Midwest. You don't see that in the Northeast. You don't see that in the West. Okay. I say that to say that when I first started well, let me backtrack. When I was at South Carolina, my teaching evaluations were great. Okay. They were awesome. I had some of the best teaching evaluations of any of the students. All right. I was doing good. And the reason for that is because South Carolina is actually one of the blackest states in the Union. I think it's the 3rd blackest state. I think Mississippi is the blackest state, and then there's somebody else before South Carolina, but I think South Carolina is number 3 if I'm not mistaken. People are used to black people in South Carolina, including people who are from rural areas. They are used to black people in South Carolina because a lot of times, even if you're from a rural area in South Carolina, you had black teachers, you had black classmates, this, that, and the other. You encountered black people when you went out in public. When I moved to the Midwest and started teaching here in Missouri, I did the same things that I was doing in South Carolina. I taught the same way. My personality was the same way, yada, yada, yada. And my teaching evaluations were awful. They were trash. And people were saying in the evaluations, he's abrasive, he's aggressive, he's defensive. I'm scared of him. I'm scared to ask him questions. He makes me nervous, yada, yada, yada. The first semester that I saw that, my first semester teaching here, fall 2018, I was like, okay, what is going on? Am I really this bad? What has happened? And then once I saw it in the spring, that's when it hit me that these were, I think that this was coded language, and what they were really trying to say was, his blackness makes me nervous, but I don't want to seem racist, so I'm going to say something else like, oh, he's aggressive or something like that. So what I had to do was start doing my best Wayne Brady impersonations. I had to basically code switch. If you have not heard that term before, look it up. You can just Google it. Code switching is what I had to do. And yes, once I code switched, my evaluations here at Missouri got much, much, much better. Okay. So that was when I was like, okay, I'm not sure it's me. It might be a racial bias issue. So what I'm going to ask you all to do is kind of meet me halfway. And I've since then even had students telling me, telling me after they took my class, oh yeah, you were the first black instructor, black teacher I ever had. And these are people in grad schools. So that means that they didn't have black teachers in elementary school, middle school, high school, even undergrad. They had their first black teacher in graduate school, which to me, it blows my mind. I'm just like, whoa, what the hell? Because I had black teachers from the very beginning. But I say that to say that please meet me halfway, and please understand that if I make you nervous, if I seem aggressive, and if I seem abrasive, if I seem defensive, please let me, please, well, just please think about it for a second and ask yourselves, am I seeing him as abrasive and as aggressive and as defensive because that's what he is, or am I seeing him this way because he's different and I'm not used to it? And that's how bias manifests, and everyone has bias. I don't care what. I can't stand when people say shit like, I don't see color. It is such a lie. Everybody sees it. Everybody is aware. If I were to come to your house tonight and knock on your door and you were not expecting me and you're not black, you might get a little nervous because people get nervous when they encounter black people they don't know, especially at night. And your reaction to me knocking on your door tonight would be different from your reaction to a white man knocking on your door, I'm very sure. Okay, but also I will also add, just so that, because I don't want white guilt. This isn't what this is about. What I want to kind of add to that is that even black people have anti-black bias in some situations. So it doesn't make you a bad person if you have anti-black bias, but please just do a little soul searching of your own, a little self-reflection, and make sure that, don't get me wrong, if you think I'm doing a bad job with the class, say so, but saying things like I'm aggressive and I'm abrasive and I'm defensive and stuff like that, maybe it's true, and then also maybe it's you. Maybe it's true, maybe it's you, okay? And what I want you to do is just kind of meet me halfway. As I said earlier, I code switch. So there was a certain way I presented and a certain way I interacted with my Southern students that I just don't do here because Midwestern students just aren't, they can't handle it, just basically. They can't handle that type of blackness that a lot of my Southern students were used to, so I had to kind of whiten it up a little bit. It is what it is. But, you know, if I'm making changes and adjusting for y'all, what I'm going to ask is that y'all do something similar for me, that y'all know I'm putting forth the effort to make myself a little more acceptable to you all, even though I really shouldn't have to, but I'm doing it because my job depends on it. And I'm asking that you all meet me halfway and just kind of, again, do some self-reflection. If it seems like I'm aggressive or I'm abrasive, then ask yourself why you think that. Am I really that different from the other teachers the other teachers that you've had in this program or in undergrad or whatever? Am I really that different? And if I am that different, is it because of who I am and the culture that I'm from and how in that I present a certain way because of the culture that I'm from? Just kind of be mindful of some of those things because a lot of these students are not. And again, one thing that I noticed in the Midwest and one thing that I was even told, so when I moved to the Midwest, when I moved to Missouri, I was even told by people, you can't stop everywhere. When I'm in North Carolina or South Carolina, I can stop pretty much anywhere because there are black people all over the state. So if I need to get gas in a rural area, I can do that. I was warned by white people even when I moved to Missouri, you're fine in St. Louis and Metro St. Louis, you're fine in Columbia, you're fine in Jeff City, you're fine in Kansas City. Be careful everywhere else you go because people do not like, know, or trust black people in the rural areas of this state. Okay, so that's not a knock. And if you are a rural person and you're not used to black people, I might be a good black person to kind of wet your feet with. You know, I just might be, to be honest with you, because I can deal with people who have varying levels of experience with black people. I've dealt with that my whole life. So, you know, if you're willing to deal with me, I'm willing to deal with you. But just make sure that what's motivating you and what's motivating what you say and what's motivating your critiques of me are not things that are due to your own racial bias. And again, everyone has biases they have to overcome. I had to overcome gender bias coming into this profession, but I think I'm a better person for it. Okay, so that's something we all need to do. So that's not me pointing fingers. That's not me trying to get you all uncomfortable. It's not me trying to make you all feel white guilt. It's just what it is. Okay, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But the main thing that I want you all to take away from having watched this video and having learned a few things about me is that I'm human. So if you have questions, talk to me, reach out. We can get things handled. We're going to have a successful summer. We're going to learn and we're going to enjoy each other's company because we got to do that. Life's too short not to. I am Dr. Jace. and let's begin this race. Take care, and I'll see you for week 2.